We'll call to order the April 20th, 2017 meeting of the Sebastian City Planning and Zoning Commission, and we will start this evening with our Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Roth,
Here.
Mr. Simmons,
Present.
Ms. Cottenberg,
Here.
Mr. Carter,
Present.
Mr. Reyes,
Here.
Mr. McManus,
Here.
Mr. Kieselbosch,
Here.
Mr. Hugan is excused, and Mr. Alvarez is excused.
Okay, under the announcements, due to the excused absence of Mr. Alvarez and Mr. Hugan, tonight voting in place will be Mr. Simmons. Thank you. Chair will entertain a motion regarding the minutes from our last meeting. You've all had an opportunity to read them and review them. Are there any additions or corrections?
I think look fine, and I will make a motion that the minutes for the April 6th, 2017 Plan Commission meeting be approved as submitted.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. Thank you. We have no quasi-judicial hearing tonight. Under unfinished business, we have the accessory structure review for 1518 Pleasant View Lane. If you will give us your name and your address for the record, please.
Justin Dablow, 1518 Pleasant View Lane, Sebastian, Florida, 32958.
Okay, thank you.
He has to take oath. He has to take oath. Doesn't he have to take oath?
Pardon?
No?
No, he doesn't need to be sworn.
Okay. All right.
Okay, if you'll tell us what you'd like to do.
I'd like to build a barn, metal building as a shed on my side adjacent property that I've unified and have made some land improvement on.
You've made some,
Land improvement, cleared some trees. I'll be doing some grading, land clearing.
okay. We'll open it up for any input from the public. No? Questions from the members of the committee, please?
I have a question. I noticed that it was not completed on the staff review about the actual height of the building.
11'6", sir.
Pardon?
11'6".
11'6". Okay,
Yeah, it should be listed on the plans.
that brings another question. We've gotten a lot of pictures. Thank you for providing all the information, but it opens the point. Which one is the one that you're going to be using?
I do believe they're all just a general sketch, and if you'd point out to what differences on which page you're referencing. They're going to be possibly sheet 2, page 2.
These were the pictures that Mr. Dablow had submitted with his application. We had provided them all. I think, as you can see, on all of them, they do show that there's going to be a double garage door in the front, a door on the side, and window. Staff was not sure if any of these were referring to the actual color of the structure. But as we've explained to Mr. Dablo, that, and he is
Okay.
going to have them matching his building. So Mr. Simmons had requested some additional pictures at the last meeting, which we provided, and you can see he's got kind of the light yellow with the white trim, and we would presume or make that a condition of approval that the shed is painted to match the house, so that it does,
Okay, you're referring to the pictures of the sheds?
Yes,
were
that's
submitted?
right.
Yeah, I mean, like Ms. Bosworth said, you know, 2 garage overhead doors on the longer side of the barn instead of, I mean, if you're looking at the red or the tan, I'm just going to orient the double doors towards the front side of Pleasant View, and the side man door to be on the side, the shorter side of the barn, the shed.
So the,
But yes, the color would be, I believe it's going to be the beige, which matches the yellow and for the walls and the green to match for the roof. If that clarifies.
yes, so basically, the gable end or with a peak on it, that would be facing the road with the 2 doors, correct?
The gable end is going to be running parallel with the road.
With the road.
Correct.
So the doors will be on which side then, the front side or the end?
Front side.
The front side.
Yes, sir.
So it'll be oriented a little bit different than the pictures we have here.
Yes, the pictures that are shown have the 2 overhead doors on the shorter side or the gable
Yes.
side. You know, I'd like to have the front double doors to be on the front side, the longer side.
If I can interrupt, I think he's referring to the layout of the shed. You're gonna have the long side facing the road, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
And that's the side with your
Yeah.
door, so your gables are actually.
The gables are
opposite.
going to be closed, minus I'm going to have one 36 by 80 man door on the side that's going to be closer to my house.
Okay, the house has a hip roof on it, so that is not a major point.
Okay.
Matter of fact, it probably will look better having the exposure to the
Yes,
roof.
that way there's no gable facing the front road.
That's correct,
Yes.
yes. Didn't know that that was an option on that plan. And as shown there will be 2 windows and 1 service door.
The quote that I received is going to be 1 window, and if that makes any difference, I mean, on location, I'd probably like to put it on the other side. That way I have some cross ventilation if I have 1 door open. So the side that I'm going to have the man door on, closer to my house, I'd like to put the window on the other gable end side.
Makes sense.
And location to be determined. That's cut and placed on site.
Do you plan to do any construction work or any repair work there for hire? In other words, doing repair work and charging a fee for it or anything like that?
What do you mean repair work? Repair work on my
Automobiles,
house, on the residence,
boats,
or?
whatever. For
No,
hire?
I mean, I plan on doing the slab myself. But I mean, as far as that, no repair work or anything like that to be done.
Okay. It's just a residential area, that's why I brought it up. Just want to make sure.
Oh, you're
Wasn't being
talking
used for
about, you're
business.
talking about doing repair work in the garage?
And
No,
charging.
No, I just want to
Okay.
move everything out of my garage into the man cave, if you will, and let my wife park in the garage.
Well, that's what I anticipated,
Oh,
but
okay,
we
okay.
just like to clarify it for the public record so
Okay.
that there's no misgivings. I have no further questions, that's good.
I have a couple of questions. The height, you say 11 feet 6 inches, right?
Yes,
That's the eve height,
that's going to be peak height.
peak
Correct.
height?
9 foot, I believe, is the eve height.
Okay, 9 feet eve height. Okay, and the sketch just shows on a survey, the shed is longer section facing the road.
Correct.
Okay, so the garage will be not in the front facing the street, the doors. the door won't be facing the street. I agree, facing the street?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
Yeah, the two overhead doors will be facing the street.
So the gable section will be facing the street.
No, the gable section will be perpendicular to the street.
Well, your door in the sketch shows with the gable section with the garage doors.
Are you talking about the survey sketch?
No, your picture shows the door, garage door with the gables.
Yes, I'm saying that it's going to be opposite.
Okay.
I think Mr. Dabilo had used these pictures just so you could see the
It just
type of
as,
shed.
just as reference as
It
construction
had
of
an
the metal.
eave, the type of doors that would be.
Do you know the dimension of the shed?
22 by 31.
22 by 31. So right now, you're going to try to squeeze that thing behind the big oak tree or next to the oak tree? How's it?
Behind.
Behind it there? Okay. All right, no questions.
I have a couple questions. Under the considerations, how many of the trees have you taken out and how many will be left?
I've taken out 6 palm trees. I believe 4 oak saplings, approximately 6 in diameter. 1 palm tree, or I'm sorry, 1 pine tree, maybe 18 in diameter. Oh, and I didn't get a final count, but there's more than 12. There's more than 12 trees on the total property. I want to say there's probably closer to 18, 17, 18, maybe 20. So there are a couple of small trees in the back. There's a couple of palms, a couple of foxtails. But like I said, there are probably closer to 18, 20 trees left on the property.
Okay, will there also be electric and plumbing and water?
No, not at this time. At this time, I just want to do the slab and the metal building. So, I mean, at a further date, I might be able to, budget-wise, run electric over there.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions or concerns?
I will ask, you say you're gonna be doing some grading on the property. How high are you coming up with your slab?
The slab? I would like to maybe bring in 3 to 4 dump truck loads of dirt, so maybe a foot in that area.
When I'm reaching that door, you probably know already, is
The second
Plus-
page, the second page after the original survey, as you can see, the one that has the highlighted yellow, that was attached to the driveway drainage permit. And as you can see, it has received the approval from our engineering tech, where he said he's bringing in 5 to 6 loads of dirt. Where the culvert is, there was some elevations there for the pipe up front. So his drainage and driveway plan has been reviewed by city staff.
I'm sorry, I was not looking at drainage this time. I was just curious, once he raises his slab where he's gonna put the slab in the building, is he gonna be higher than his existing building?
No,
We're
that'll-
making sure you're staying below your existing building, right?
Yes, by
So it's not gonna
by
come
far,
up that
yes.
high?
Yeah, it's, the actual property is just a level lot.
Okay.
The residence is raised up on a pad. I mean, I don't know the elevation, but it's substantially higher,
Okay.
so.
And we were able to
But-
determine the height of the house at 16 feet. So even at 11.6, there's still 4 or 5 feet there. that they
Okay,
have.
and that's nice to know that you are gonna culvert a drive down to it.
Yes, I believe it's going to remain grass, though, correct?
Yes.
Stabilized or grass
Yes.
driveway, just the
Yeah, crushed,
apron.
I believe they're bringing in crushed shell, sand, I mean, whatever they typically do for culvert pipe fill and grading.
I've seen this design used with the 2 doors on the long side like that before, and a single door in the back works very well for ventilation. You might want to think of that.
Another
I have
$700.
no other questions on this.
But, okay.
Thank you.
Okay, if there are no other questions, then I will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the accessory structure at a 1518 Pleasant View Lane of the 682 square foot shed as submitted.
Second.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Yeah,
Aye.
aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
All right, thank you, gentlemen.
Make room for
Good
your
luck
wife's
with it.
car.
All right.
Go for
Good
it.
luck.
No, I signed it.
Probably make his wife happy.
Okay. Now, is there anyone here from the public who would like to address the commission on any subject not listed on the agenda? Okay. Hearing none. Any new business? None. Commissioners' matters.
I do. Two questions. Question and statement. One, have we heard anything, Dory, from council yet relative to the thought we had about putting together a booklet guideline for a fishing village concept?
I did not bring it yet to Mr. Griffin's attention, and they had to cancel the April 12th meeting, so there was kind of a full agenda for this upcoming meeting on the 26th. But I will definitely, tomorrow, be able to try and get with him, give us the ideas. I think what we wanted to do is either determine, do we want to do a workshop? Is council agreeing with the commission? At this point, we would like to look at the overlay district requirements and those sections to update them, kind of get the go-ahead from council before we jump in and begin, is what I'll be asking Mr.
Oh, yeah.
Griffin to find out.
That's best, definitely. The other, I'm going to follow through on this because I've mentioned a number of times about the Barber Street Railroad crossing and the lack of a pedestrian crossing at that site, going way back 6 years. And it seems like there's always problems with tackling it, trying to approach it. I know the railroad is very hard to work with, but if we don't start somewhere, it's not going to go anywhere. The city has a rather large retail complex on the east side of the tracks with everyone knows there's a Walgreens, Publix, Plaza. And you go on the east side of the tracks, there's two 55-plus communities and a rather large residential area. And living in Park Place and driving that, I have seen some things that really concern me with people pushing a grocery cart across that railroad crossing with no place to go. And believe you me, that even now that it's been improved, there's enough for cars and nothing else. So you can't get a grocery cart across there, and I've seen people do it, even when it's dark. I plan on following this up and talking with the city manager and the city engineer, because I really think this needs to be addressed. There's rumblings now that All Aboard Florida is going to go forward. Supposedly, they've gotten a couple of court agreements in their favor. So I want to make sure, and I don't quite understand why it wasn't discussed in the city of Sebastian as spending $100,000 for the last improvement on that railroad crossing, and there was never a thought given to a pedestrian crossing on either side. The sidewalk comes up on both sides, and it ends. The city is growing, so I think it needs to be addressed. And I will follow through on it to make sure that it doesn't get dropped again.
I don't remember if when we had the senior living at that, the senior apartments at that site. I know there was some discussions there. I don't know if we were trying to get it as an off-site improvement from that developer. Of course, that site plan has expired and they aren't going forward with that. I don't know if that was the reason why that we had, but the sidewalks do go to either side of the railroad crossing?
Yes, they stop about 75 to 100 feet short of the crossing, just for whatever reasons. They didn't want to take it too close to the railroad right away or infringe on it, and that was why they stopped where they did. So And I know that, you're right, Dory, that senior living center did play a part in it because it was brought up at that time. But that's non-existent now, so we could have used that as somewhat of a lever to
I'll
move the
certainly,
project along.
again, bring it to to city manager, Mr. Griffin, city engineer. We're working on a new budget, capital improvement program for another 5 years, so I'll bring it to their attention.
No, I too will follow up on it. I just think it just needs a little bit more awareness so that more of the city knows what is there. I've talked it up in the community and also across the street in Palm Lakes Club so that they know about it and asking for their support on it. It just needs more focus on it and not being pushed aside.
Thank you.
Sorry for taking so much time, but that's something I really feel needs to.
I have a suggestion or proposal. We're the Planning and Zoning Board. Well, we do a lot of zoning and variances and whatnot, but we don't do any planning. So my thought was, like, if there's a month that, you know, every other Thursday that isn't taken, we still meet and devote that strictly to the group's ideas of what can be done to better the city. It might be very minor, but, you know, or have one meeting devoted to whatever every other month or something. But I think that there could be a lot of good stuff come out of that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anyone else for the good of the order? How about some staff matters?
Nothing tonight, thank you.
Okay, anything that anybody wants to see on our next agenda specifically? Okay, hearing none, meeting's adjourned.